You guys ready to rock?
I'm ready.
Oh, yes.
All right, let's do it. I'll do the count. 3, 2, 1. Hello, my friendly acquaintances out there in the what did Mr. Rogers used to say? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It is a beautiful day in the Fire Your Boss neighborhood today. My name is George Bruno, and today my co-hosts, as always, the illustrious co-hosts are Dan T-Bone Jones, also known as Jonesy, and Frank Guerin. I'll give you guys the first word and always the last word. So what you got to say for yourself?
Yeah, Jonesy.
Oh boy, it's all on me. I'll tell you what, gentlemen, I'm particularly excited this episode 15 because Fire Your Boss actually has a centralized location now on the internet. We have fireyourboss.win is the website address. All right, how about that? Because obviously we know Fire Your Boss is about empowering you and having leverage over an employer. .win is the domain because we want you to win. What a perfect tie-in.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. I like that because if you do fire your boss, that is a definite win. An even bigger win is when you fire your boss and make him work for you. So
exactly.
Fireyourboss.win again.
That's the reverse Uno card.
Yeah,
I like the .win thing. That's man, the mind of Jonesy, man. This guy doesn't even sleep at night. His gears are turning. I wake up and there's ideas texted to me in the morning. I mean, what's going on with that, Frank? The guy's gears are always turning.
That's that younger generation, George.
It's got nothing to do with age. It was being
easily stimulated.
Being pent up for years, working for an employer, not being able to express this not only creatively but productively.
And profitably.
Jonesy makes money when he sleeps and when he's awake.
I like that. Yeah, I had that the other day. I woke up to a nice Weber commission check. I was like, yeah, I can deal with that. You're not going to get rich on that one check, but boy, it's been coming every month for 20 years.
All right, my friendly acquaintances, we're talking about referrals today. And I call referrals the king of business growth tactics. And I will start out with this. We have a moral obligation to extend superior levels of results and benefits to each customer and client and to everybody that they hold dear. So we're not just only providing benefits for our customers, but the people that they know and love as well. We have a moral obligation. If we truly believe that we offer a great service or product, we want to improve the lives of the people that they love. I always thought that was an interesting way of looking at things. Referrals are a great way to have a constant flow of clients and customers. I remember years ago, and Jonesy, you can probably identify with this, selling cars. Now, I know you worked with a car dealership. All car sales training is all about features and benefits, doing the walk around, doing features and benefits. And in my sales training, my trainer many, many years ago, I've always had part-time jobs in addition to a full-time job, and sales was always the part-time thing. He added FBI, features, benefits, and impact. Impact is the benefit of the benefit. Okay, the features of the car are 4-door. Back we used to say power windows, power steering when those things were like an option, that type of thing. Of course, now that's in even the cheapest cars. Does any car have roll down windows anymore? Or it's just like they all have AC, they all have power, everything. But you used to give the features and then the benefit of those features, and then it would stop. But my sales trainer taught me what's the impact of those features and benefits. And that takes it one step further because you wouldn't allow anyone who is important to you or to your valued friends to make bad purchasing decisions. You sell the car to people because you care for the people. You want them to be safe. You want the bazillion airbags and the crumple zones and all the safety features because you care about people, not just because you want to make a dollar. And you communicate that care to people. When people feel cared for, they buy from you. A referral generated client, it's proven they spend more money, they buy more often, they're more loyal than any other category of client, and referrals always give birth to more referrals. We've talked in the past about knowing every aspect of your potential customers to the point where we have said niche down 3 to 5 levels.
That's
I'll
right.
bring up a couple things to you. When I think about plumbers, there was a day, and I think we talked about this before. There was a day when plumbers came in, their pants halfway down their ass, covered in grease, just looking like a cigar hanging out of their mouth or something. Guy coming with a toolbox, whatever, dragging like dirt in. And then there was a company that said, no, you're going to wear a uniform. You're going to wear a hat. You're going to put booties on your boots at the doorway, so you're not tracking crap all over. You're going to clean up all your mess. I know the plumbing, the heating and cooling outfit that is used in this house here. Guy brings a vacuum, like a little handheld, cordless vacuum. Any dust, particles, crumbs, any stuff, gone. You don't even know the plumber was here. There were years, think about it, when you had to clean up after the plumber left. And not unlike the Boy Scouts, we were taught, leave the campsite in better condition than when you found it. So now, if you are not a plumber that wears the booties, little surgical booties, and if you don't keep things clean, and if you don't keep like if you open up the, what do they call it? Not the utility door. Is that it? Like where the
Like mudroom or whatever.
Like where the heat pump and furnace and air conditioner is.
Mechanical room,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Mechanical room. Yes. Yeah. And there's a sticker on the wall where they write, when they serviced it, and they literally, there's the record. There was a day when none of that happened. But now, if you're going into the plumbing, HVAC business, man, you got to be on top of things. You have to know the history of that. And when you demonstrate that to the customer, they're just impressed. So when someone says, yeah, man, I need a plumber, my AC just went out, or my heat went out, the homeowner says, I know someone. Call this guy here, or call this company here. They're fantastic. They clean up their mess. They're courteous, that type of thing. Number 2, selling cars to women. I remember when I was selling cars, someone said, you got to get this book. It's called Selling Cars. No, literally the title is this: How to Get Rich Selling Cars to Women. Talk about niching down. Okay. How to get rich selling cars to women, because it's different. It's different than selling cars to men, which means that we actually have to admit that men and women are different, which is difficult in this day and age. But selling cars to women, very, very niche. A hairdresser that I know and met at a couple hair shows. I used to watch all his videos. Michael Levine. He's a hairdresser to blonde women. He's an expert in blonde hair. If you got black hair, he won't work on you. You got red hair, he will not. You cannot sit in this chair. If you got brown hair, he will not cut or color your hair. But if you're blonde, you are in luck. And this guy is all about the blonde, the highlights, and he has created an absolute empire being the blonde expert. So every blonde that goes to him just refers all their blonde friends to him. And then finally, the last one was a week ago, actually last Friday, I had my first urologist appointment, and I know this is too much information, in 7 years. And what's freaky is that I usually end up putting off things that could be potentially painful, like dental appointments. There was a 10-year period where I didn't go to the dentist because I knew I was going to have to get drilled and all this stuff. I didn't go to a urologist for like 7 years for obvious reasons. Men know what those reasons are. And I went, man, I got treated like a darn king. It was greeted with a smile at the door. They took my information. There was 3 people that I saw: a nurse, a physician's assistant, and then eventually the doctor. Asked me questions, didn't make me feel embarrassed about things. And, those are like really super private things. He accessed my information and found out about my history. Even before I got there, he knew a little bit about me. But you know how I found him? He is the husband of a friend's eye doctor. It was a referral.
Mhm.
I got treated so well there that if I know any guys who are having any like urological issues, or, after 60, you might pee too much in the middle of the night. Like I said, this is too much information. Or you have like prostate issues.
Right there with you, George.
Yeah. Yeah.
Twice
you got
a
any
night,
issues?
some nights.
What I hate to do is just sit there and let my fingers do the walking through the damn yellow pages, searching for someone like that, because, but I was referred to him. And because I was treated with such dignity and professionalism, I yelled it from a mountaintop. Gentlemen, if you need a urologist and it's a sensitive area, And, don't leave it up to chance. This guy is unbelievable and he's great at what he does. He does all the robotic surgery. He's got all the latest certifications and all this kind of stuff. He's the best of the best of the best. I haven't been able to stop talking about this guy for the past week. It's absolutely amazing. And it's not like I'm like, gee, I can't wait to go to my next urology appointment. It's, it's not like that. But the reality is, if I know anyone who, if I ever get into a conversation with somebody and that topic comes up, I will, beyond a shadow of a doubt, bring up this doctor. He's absolutely incredible. So that's what I have to say about referrals. And let's just start our talk. Frank, what do you think about referrals?
Well, I actually can tell you about my dad, who was a General Electric. He worked for GE as a repairman, right? Fixing your GE and Hotpoint microwave, fridge, dishwasher, whatever, stove for, oh God, 20 years. And he went out on his own because he was tired of the political BS. He was the shop steward and tired of fighting GE and this and that. So he went out on his own. And how was he able to do that? Well, everybody that he knew, you think I'm a goof. Should have met my dad, George. He can walk in a room and make friends with people in about 8 seconds, you know. But he had a great reputation. He saved people money. He told them how it was and what you really needed. Didn't try to zap anybody. So when he went out on his own, all these townhouse developments and condo developments and all, he got the whole contract. Took him from GE, and barely needed to use the phone book as a, and this is the 80s, and the internet wasn't even out then, right? He didn't even need a an ad in the phone book after a while. All he did was referrals 100%. It's the same thing on my street here, where I'm at in Pennsylvania. 21 houses. I'd say there's 18 of us that exchange referrals. Who's the plumber? Who's the electrician? Who's the best lawn guy? Blah, 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 blah. And that's who you use. We've never had one go bad. But I'll tell you what, and this, I mean, it's a nice house, man. I never thought I'd live in a house like this. As a kid, we lived in a 1,200 square foot Cape Cod with air conditioners hung in the window in the summer, and that was downstairs. The kids upstairs, would it be 105 in your room on a good night, you know? But anyway, the point is, my HVAC guy, referral. My plumber, my plumber is the landscaper's friend. And within your network, it's so safe because you're not going to get zapped. Nobody's going to raise the price on you for no good reason. And we have a neighborhood Facebook page where among other things we pass tips. But as I said, my dad, he even got written up in a local newspaper for what a character he was, because he used to tell jokes and make people laugh and this and that. And he had a good 15-year run on his own. Made more than he made at GE, And he taught me a lot about that, because I forget if we talked about this, me being a newspaper carrier, but evidently when I was 14, 15, I did such a decent job that when school let out and it became summertime, people would say, "Hey, Frankie, you want to cut our lawn? You want to mow our lawn this summer?" So it was extra money on top of. I didn't even have to go looking for it. And you can get referrals for almost anything. I mean, I delivered a newspaper. Talk about a mindless, brainless job 7 days a week. Out of that, I got my first full-time job and a whole bunch of, mowing the lawn and trimming the hedges jobs. So it can be done. You just have to be decent. Some fields, I'll name realtors for one. Don't get me started. I had everybody laughing last night at the workshop I spoke at about my land business. And I was saying realtors, how 10% of them make 90% of the sales. That's because they actually pick up the phone and call back, so that gets around. All my people, like my realtor in North Carolina, if I can't get a deal going with somebody, I say to them, "Hey, I've got a realtor that maybe will help you if I can't. Let me make sure and give you his info when we finish up, if we're not going to do business." And the guy's made several, doesn't take much selling a house at a decent commission to make, 5, 10 grand. And I do it because he's good. And why shouldn't somebody, if they don't buy from me? Okay, well, can I leave them better than I found them? Yes, because if I can't offer them 100 cents on a dollar, maybe the realtor can help them get, 95 cents on a dollar or whatever, and take good care of them. So that's what I have to say about referrals. The end.
Frank, I like that because I have a similar philosophy, and that is if I can't help you, I'll find somebody who can.
Yeah, because this way my realtors won't do me favors because I do him favors on top of me helping him make money and him helping me make money. It's just like win-win, like duh, and about 2, 3 times a year, I'll send somebody to him and he'll thank me, and I don't get a penny of that. I don't care. If I don't get the sale, let somebody else get the sale. And
Planting seeds for the future.
yeah, and then this way people thank me. They're like, oh yeah, I went with your guy Anderson. He was great. Well, it makes me feel good because I don't have to know these people to love them or care about them. I mean, they're just some person on the phone or the internet. We can still treat people decently in any business that you're in. You can still treat people the way that you want to be treated. And kindness never goes out of style. Kindness never goes stale. And you can never run out of it in any way, shape, or form. So why not be kind to people? Plus, it makes me feel good. I like being nice.
Yeah. Well, like I remember learning in the automotive sales world that people buy you before they buy the car. They buy the salesman before they buy the car. I could have if I'm looking for a new Toyota Tacoma and the salesman is a complete jerk with me, no matter how much I want that truck, I'm not going to buy there. I will look for another Toyota dealership and buy from them. The salesman has to sell himself to me first before I purchase anything from him. And the likability factor is a big factor that's rarely talked about. Everyone talks about the hustle, the grind, but no one talks about likability. And I think that's important.
It's
Speaking
funny.
of
Oh, let
speaking
me
of
just.
likability, there's Jonesy.
Hey.
We do. Oh, shoot. Hold on. There's my realtor calling me. I thought I had it muted. There
Well,
is
that's
Jonesy.
that's topical. Your realtor's calling you.
Yes. Well, not
Yeah.
that realtor, another
I think
realtor.
he had that planned. He's
Yeah.
talking about a realtor, and all of a sudden, the
Oh,
realtor miraculously calls.
It's a
look at
shill. He's
me.
got an audience plan. He's texting him, hey, make sure you call me in like 25 seconds from now. It's going to make
Make me
you and
look
me
more.
look really good.
Yeah, make me look important. Yeah. Go ahead, Jonesy. Enough about me.
So what does all this have to do with firing your boss? Well, George, Frank, I'm so glad you asked me that. I actually have a lot to say about referrals because it's actually a strategy and set of tactics I use for my clients in marketing as an actual viable strategy. So, George, you had talked about, tying it all together, drilling 3 to 5 niches down. And, I guess in some ways, like service industries like that plumber, setting a new precedent to which all other plumbers now have to meet or surpass to be impressionable and to get that positive experience left in the, behind from the customer, to turn that customer into a brand evangelist afterwards and whatnot. And it's a 10% change. They could be the exact same quality work performed as the sloppy plumber, but you're going to remember the clean one. Same quality work. All
Yep.
right. Same deliverable, but booties and a service tag on the utility door, right?
Yep.
That's not even 10% better. That's like 3% better, whatever, however you quantify it. You just set yourself up for referrals. And a discussion I usually have with new clients who, they're trying to grow, they're trying to expand. They tell me, yeah, we get most of our business from referrals. That's freaking awesome. Okay. So you've already got that goodwill, that capital there that just needs to be leveraged and systemized, which is what I do. Okay. Because like you said, referrals are always going to drive consistent, repeat, and higher revenues than other marketing or advertising channels. Proven fact. Google it, research, ask ChatGPT. They're all going to tell you the same thing. I know it, you know it, we all know it. And if you didn't know it, now you know. Cool. But you can't really control, to an extent, the pipeline or the funnel of referral marketing. It kind of just happens as it happens, right? Mostly. One way we mitigate that or try to systemize it is just with positioning. I tell every client, every customer that they should have some sort of formal referral program, whether that is strictly a dollar amount for a successfully converted referral, or if it's a percentage based. In the car industry, the last dealer I worked for, we had an internal referral program, and it was tiered. So a successful referral from a previous, actually it could be anybody, not even a previous customer, which leads to bird dogging, which is kind of a side topic I'll get into. You send somebody to buy a car from this dealership, you get a $200 check. Cool. unlimited. Every fourth, you get 400. So 4 conversions is $1,000 in your pocket. Rinse and repeat. Cool. Now it's systemized. Now people know about it. Are you going to get 3 to 4 a day? No, but at least you have a process in place where you can measure how many referrals came from which people and which sources. In a way, affiliate marketing is really just systemized referrals. It's a percentage of a sale, and it's typically systemized. You have an e-commerce store, you set up an affiliate program, and Frank and George, you talk about the product because it's something you recommend, because it's something you use, right? George, I know there's a I mean, like even the road equipment you're using, right? It's something you recommend to your customers, to your followers, to your audience. Frank, you and I talk about Aweber pretty much every 3 hours because it's a system that we know, love, use, and trust. And
Yes.
we refer our clients and students to use Aweber's marketing platform because of the level of service and the high quality of the product for the past 30 years. So yeah, we're part of that referral, that affiliate program. Absolutely. And you should be too. So, positioning first, automate second. There's ways you can facilitate it. Easy referral network. Even using stuff like Gumroad is kind of in a way a referral network, where you're promoting your products or services on there. I have it with my marketing agency. It's 10%. You refer somebody to me, you get a 10% commission, right? Because I don't really advertise. I love to turn my clients, my customers who end up becoming my friends usually, into raving fans who then want everybody else to have that experience. And that's the important thing to remember is it's about the quality. You want those, your friends, your loved ones, your companions, those in your network to get the I part of FBI, which is that impact, which is the positive experience. I had to go make some mistakes. Here's your fast track to not make that mistake.
And that can work both ways with referrals and positivity. You're talking about Toyotas, right, George? My wife bought her first minivan when we were having Nora about 13, 14 years ago, let's say, right? Comes time for a new one. It's a Toyota. We get 8 years and 200 something thousand miles out of it. The sale, we were pre-sold. We're just here to get another, Toyota minivan, right? So the guy at the dealership this time must have been somebody new, treated her like she was some stupid housewife. So she goes, Pace, goes to the Toyota dealer down the road, saves like $5,000. I think it was the trade-in or whatever. Saved like a legitimate $5,000 on it. And that was the first guy saying, all you had to do was treat her right. The rapport, the trust in the product was already there. The guy was such an a-hole that she drove 10 minutes away and gave a stranger this first guy's money. So she does her Toyota minivans because we trust those. Next thing I get will be a Dodge Durango SUV because, now for those kids we have here, I can't just tool them around in a pickup truck. So the dealer that I bought the old truck from back in 2004, I called up. I said, listen, I'm a customer, bought a $2,000 Ford Dakota. I'm in the market for a new truck this year. Guy sends me the brochures. He says, Frank, listen, I know you're not going to buy this now, but when you want to, call me up, come in, sit in the truck, drive the truck, whatever. Where do you think I'm going to take my business, George? To that place.
Yeah.
I don't have to look anywhere else. I'm not even in the dealership and the guy's treating me right.
Yeah.
Pre-sold sale.
It's funny talking about automotive sales. I believe Saturn was the first that offered the no haggle pricing on vehicles.
Yeah, no negotiating.
Because, people don't like they don't like looking at the sticker price and then like negotiating. They just want to pay. Most people aren't negotiators. That's the thing. And then it got to, what do we have? Carvana. And I've seen these Carvana places. Like there's one in, Orlando. It looks like a giant car vending machine. I mean, it's like 5 stories high and there's cars in it.
Yeah.
And like these elevators, you know what I mean? It's like, and apparently people don't want to deal with salespeople so much that they're willing to look at a car online, purchase it, and have it delivered on a flatbed to their home because they don't want to deal with any salespeople. How interesting Jonesy, let me ask you this: $200 for an automotive referral, 400 for the fourth. Is money always the best incentive? I know when I read, and probably both of you guys read Joe Girard's book on, I think he was like the world's greatest car salesman, the most successful car salesman in like history. And he would send fruit baskets and birthday cards. He knew people's birthdays, and it was one of those things where he didn't do any cash rewards, no affiliate anything. It was just kind of like human stuff, like a handwritten thank you card, a bunch of flowers, fruit basket, remembering people's anniversaries and birthdays and things like that. And apparently, and of course, that was a different era. I don't know if things have changed today, but what are your thoughts about money being the best incentive?
Best, I don't know. That's a great question. However, I do know that it is effective, especially if you're just talking in strictly marketing terms and ROI and ROAS, because that fee that you pay is directly tied to a conversion, an acquisition, or a sale. There's no wasted money there. You know that $200 is spent on the acquisition, pure and simple. So that's why, as a marketer, I like it. And I always think if we're going to, create that impression, do the stuff like remembering birthdays, remembering, customers, milestones, events, life events, all that stuff. They're going to, for the other reasons, the sort of intangible reasons that we already talked about, why they would refer somebody to that business. I want to incentivize it.
Yeah, I like that. It's so funny. I think when it comes to intergenerational, I guess I don't know if that's the word, or transgenerational, where, like, for instance, most of my audience knows that I cut hair part-time. I love it. It's a guy job. It's like a man job. It's like getting paid to like hang out with the bros and do bro stuff. But I'm at the point where, I've cut son's hair and then the son's hair, and 3 generations of men, because they won't go to anyone else. I've cut the hair of 1%er motorcycle gang members. I cut the hair of mobsters, because they know one of the benefits is they can sit in my chair, talk about anything they want, and it's like talking to a priest or an attorney. There's kind of, you heard of attorney-client privilege. It's like barber-client privilege, that they can talk to me about anything.
Yeah.
And the referrals come in. They just come in without even me trying.
That's how it should be, though, if you're practicing a good business. My one divorce lawyer, I mean, that's not something you want to celebrate, but I certainly gave them a good referral or two. For a fact, I know I did at least one. It's a sad thing to go through. And as a guy, you want to make sure you don't get screwed over. So I said, hey, go to, God, what's his name? Anyway, go to my attorney, and he'll take good care of you. And he did. Even
Yeah.
something like that, I have a friend on the internet who's a funeral director and a mortician. He gets referrals, the most sympathetic to families. I'm sure he's not the cheapest, but he does the best job. And at a time like that's what's important. Giving
I
your
think
loved
that's
one a good send off, basically.
Yeah, you're talking about like when you're forced into a negative circumstance and being able to refer to a professional who can guide you through that process.
Exactly.
And it can
Yeah.
be something as, tragic as having to plan a funeral, having to negotiate your way through a divorce, or let's bring it back to the car stuff, a mechanic. Most of the time you go to a mechanic or service department is because something's wrong with your car. Yes, we do preventive maintenance, we get our oil changes and stuff like that, but let's face it, most of the big ticket stuff is when we've got a blown head gasket, or got to get the radiator replaced, all that stuff, which costs some cheddar cheese. You're usually pissed off when you go there.
Yeah.
And a good service center, automotive service center, will navigate that process with and for you, understanding that you are stressed the hell out and you're going to be spending some money. And again, that 10%, 5% makes a difference.
Yeah.
I've
And
used the same mechanic. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jonesy, but I've used the same mechanic. They must have been referred to me right when I moved here to the Lehigh Valley in 2000, and 2 or 3, same mechanic, 20 years. If he retires, I don't know where I'm going, you know?
You'll have to get a
ask them.
referral
Yeah, get a
There
right.
you go. There you go. Hopefully the one
because
guy, his one mechanic, takes over the shop or something, because they're all good. They're all good. And I remember when, the owner is an acquaintance of ours, a friend of ours. I remember when his mechanic left, I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? The guy that he hired is just as good or better as the old guy. So even during a situation where you're like, oh, is this going to change, and get a little nervous, he assured me and said, hey, now this guy, he knows his stuff, Chris. Chris has been an absolute gem to deal with for the past decade, just like Chuck was an absolute gem to deal with the decade before that, They do. They have my business. As long as they're in business, they have my business.
yeah, and if your mechanic goes out of business, dies, or whatever, you're going to go onto your neighborhood association on Facebook and say, anyone know of a good mechanic? That's the first thing you'll do.
Absolutely.
I see that all the time in my neighborhood. People looking for pest control or any kind of home services, they ask that question, and then there's always like 20 or 30 responses or things that you have to, numbers that you have to call or people that you have to kind of vet, and the referrals are endless if someone does a great job.
We know. And it can even be, I mean, we talk about the everyman here, but when I used to travel on business, I would go out of my way to fly Continental Airlines. I would drive to Newark, which is an hour and 15 minutes, which is Philly's 10 minutes closer from my house here. I'd go the extra 10 minutes and spend up to an extra $100 just to fly on Continental Airlines before they got bought out by United, because I knew if I had to make a flight change and I explained my situation, they would waive the change fee. I mean, this is back in the 90s, I knew what my experience was going to be. I knew that I would get good flight attendants and happy people and pilots and, everybody at the desks, check-in desk, everybody was in a good mood. I knew what the standard of service was. Then United bought them out. And no offense to United, but it was like Yugo bought Porsche, not a good fit, man. So now I'm Delta, Team Delta.
Nice.
But even a big
Nice.
company can earn that kind of loyalty.
Of course.
It's a
Yep.
plane with wings. It goes up, comes down. It's like a big long elevator with noisy engines. That's all it is, right?
Yeah.
What does it matter which one you take on? Why fly on? Why was I more willing to spend $50 or $100 extra to go on Continental? Those very reasons. And you don't have to be a big company, as we've illustrated. We're almost finishing this call with talking about big companies. All we've done is talked about small one-on-one and mom and pop shops.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. At the conference that we went to, the Impact Conference, I remember there was a question Ken asked the crowd. He said, how many are here because somebody invited you or talked to you about this conference? And like so many hands went up. There's the power of referrals right there.
It filled the room for 3 days.
Yep.
Yeah. It was
Pretty
amazing.
much most of those type of events, summits, master classes, yes, I see them advertised with paid ads and whatnot. The majority of the people that show up are from a direct conversation or connection, including this most recent one. I helped run a real estate one in Bristol. Probably like 35, 40 people there, and a lot of new faces I'd never seen myself, which is always refreshing. We run some ads to, create general awareness, but everybody who came there said, yeah, well, this person told me about it. This person told me about it. It's like, referrals are kind of a way that you can go viral out in the ether, out in the real world.
Yeah. I remember back in the early 80s, I remember hearing he was a professor at Eastern College in St. David's, PA. And he asked a question. He says, how many here go to church because they saw a church sermon on television? Raise your hand. No one raised their hand. He says, how many here go to church because you heard like a religious radio program? No one raised their hand. He said, how many go to church because someone invited you and said, hey, I think you would like it. It's a nice place. It's comfortable. It's family oriented. Like hundreds of hands went up. And I learned this like 40 years ago. Referrals work absolutely everywhere. Now, the last topic is referral system templates. And that is knowing who you want to reach. Write down 3 to 5 niches. There's one guy that I watch on YouTube called Nomad Capitalist. I believe his name is Andrew Henderson. He always starts out by saying, thank you for tuning into Nomad Capitalist. My name is Andrew Henderson. I work with 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs. Like, boom, right from the get. So like right away, he's establishing who he works with. So if you know someone who is a 7 and 8 figure entrepreneur, my gosh, you're going to instantly refer them to Andrew Henderson, like right away, because that's who he wants to reach for obvious reasons. But what are the demographics of your ideal prospects? Do we know their income? And the more questions that we can answer about who we want to serve, the more likely we're going to actually hit a bullseye. What is their income? What is their financial worth? What is their age? Again, how to get rich selling cars to women. Okay. What is their gender? What is their ethnic group? What is their neighborhood? What is their geographic reason? What type of business are they in? What is their marital status? What is their religion? What are their hobbies? What are their political views? What is their membership status in various associations? What kind of car do they drive? What kind of magazines or newspapers or media do they subscribe to? What is their educational background? What kind of investments do they have? What is their physical health like? Mental health, health interests? Are they into alternative medicine, alternative health, vitamins, et cetera, et cetera? Are they smokers or non-smokers? Do they use alcohol? Where do they go on vacation? They have a vacation home, or are they timeshare people? Do they go camping? Do they prefer hotels? What are their buying preferences? Upscale, or are they budget oriented? Just as many questions as you can answer about your potential client, the more likely you are to find that person and identify. Now, I just talk about, I just mentioned at least 20 things right there, 20 niches down. Jonesy, what do you think about that?
So, I mean, look, that's that's sort of related to the way I do some targeted advertising. So yes, it starts with positioning. And sometimes we don't know those answers. Yes, we can ask a sample of that audience, prospective audience. We can go back through sales data and create a survey or glean information based on what we know. Some of it can be attained digitally. So it just kind of triggered a thought in my head about using in Facebook and Instagram advertising. You can do it on TikTok, YouTube, is behavior-based targeting. So yes, you've got the demographic, the age, the gender, the location, the income. Then you've got the behavior stuff, which is the interests, the jobs, the activities, what they're doing. Did they recently move? What, all that stuff. There's actually a list of like at least 100 different interests and parameters that you can apply to that. So what I'm getting at really is that it's just a way to find that 3 to 5 drill down niche right there. And it's extremely effective. And like I said, it can be reverse engineered. You can determine a niche if you're having trouble describing it by finding the common factors of what you're already doing. Now you have to be established and have some sales under your belt to have that data, which is fine. But it's a way to hone your positioning based on that niche and be more effective for that niche. I pretty much never, with myself, with my businesses, cut myself off from any prospective client unless there's the dollar amount threshold, which we all have and should have. However, yes, Dan Jones, I like to work with entrepreneurs who are looking to create their first 6 figures. And yes, I'm going to be realistic. Those first 6 figures are $101,000. All right. I'm not going to put you at 99999 in year 1. We'll get there. That's what I like to do. However, if a local plumber comes to me and says, man, I want to do some more digital marketing, say, cool. Well, I run this marketing agency called Marketing Agency Near Me, and my web designer and project manager, Kev, will talk to you. So it's not me doing it directly. I'm still a part of it. And I still get to serve somebody who's technically not my niche, which is just cool.
I like that a lot. Frank, what do you think about going down niches? How many niches do you want to, or niche, depending on where you're from and how uppity you want to get? How many niches down do you go, Frank? Or do you just take anyone who's got money in their pocket?
For the purposes of this show, I'm going to say 3. I'm only kidding, 3. Yeah, because thing about generalist clients is they're harder to place and work with and solve problems for than somebody that has a specific market. Or, people saying, I want to make more money. Well, that's great. Everybody does. I want to make more money online. Well, that's okay. A lot of people do. So 310 is, I want to make more money by publishing and selling children's books for kindergarten through third graders. Now you've got a niche or a niche that we can address, look at the competition and say, hey, here are your chances. I was able to do a lot of the broad stuff in the beginning, 94, 96, 2000, because the internet was so new. It was like the Wild West. Now you have to be specific and know your market. And to this day, I pretty much serve the same people. Through Jonesy and what we do here at Fire Your Boss and Conversion Chemistry, I consult with people who basically have an idea or have something going on the internet already. And I am basically the equivalent of a big brother or sending them to finishing school to get from a concept or just farting around or playing around with a little something to going bigger than that, right? And that's what I do. Is I'm a big brother, project manager, publicist, coach, cheerleader. You ought to see my legs, that type of thing. Yeah, Jonesy's seen him. He'll tell you.
Look at them dancer stems.
But and I'm not here to help everybody because I am not the guy that's got every answer in programming or traffic to a website. But I know enough to be dangerous, and I know enough to point people in the right direction with my help, and I know enough to bring on good sub vendors. Say Jones and I weren't partners and friends, I would still send people to him because I know he'll do a good job. I don't have to get involved in the whole SEO game. I've got him.
So it puts you in the role of like a GC, which I mean, yeah, if you're talking about somebody who's got the ultimate referral network, it might be the GC building or renovating your house, at least for the rehab and construction aspect. Because yeah, the GC is typically not, doing the plumbing and the electric and the mechanical and the framing and the drywalling and the painting. They're the project manager.
Right.
So you have to have that referral network like that. I just thought of something, gentlemen, as I often do in these podcasts, is now that we have a home base on fireyourboss.win, I think I want to put some sort of tool on there that's like going to help people find their niche, like a little bot that they can ask, here's what I want to do. Bypassing the entire process I was just talking about 5 minutes ago and speed running it, like the niche navigator.
Or
wow.
It could be FrankBot number 2, FrankBot Jr.
FrankBot Jr.
Frankie
we went from Jonesy, the entrepreneur solutionist, to what was the other one you said? After the solutionist, there was something else you called yourself. The catalyst. Now the niche navigator. I like that. Frank, what do you have to say? What's your last word?
Don't give up, because if somebody like me can do it, I believe, your margin is going to vary, blah, blah, blah. But I believe that every person has greatness within them in one form or another. And if you're watching this and listening to this, the three of us stand ready to help you any way that we can.
Jonesy.
Basically, I'm going to piggyback off that and say you deserve it. You deserve to be happy doing what you do and making money off of it. So, and I'm going to put myself under pressure here, go to fireyourboss.win and the niche navigator will be up by the time this episode drops.
Well, I would like to tell the audience this. My final word would be ask for the referrals. If you're in business, if you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur in sales, not only have you learned to ask for the sale, but ask for the referrals. If a person doesn't have the resources or time to purchase or utilize your product or service, they might know somebody who does need that. So ask for the referral. Speaking of asking, if you go to conversionchemistry.com, it's an online marketing academy that we represent. And if you use the promo code Bruno2024, Jonesy, are they still getting 90% off of the price?
They are, but they won't forever.
Okay. And we're not going to tell that date because I don't, you don't have a cutoff on that, do you yet?
I don't.
Okay.
Well,
Sooner or
Conversion.
later,
at some point, I'm going to say last chance.
Yeah.
George, sooner or later, the medication's going to wear off and he's going to come back to his senses. It's a
Yeah.
hell of a deal.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it really
It
is.
is.
So, Bruno 2024 at conversionchemistry.com. Yes, indeed. If you like what you see here, you'll love what you see there because it's lots of community. You know, it's a part of this community, and we're honored to be a part of, you know, the good ship Bruno there, George. Honored to play a part on the team. You know, we try to deliver value to everybody, and you're like-minded, and that's why we enjoy working with you.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And also, too, let's mention fireyyourboss.win. We now have a home site.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. And there, I think there's plenty of links there. Is that correct, Jonesy, for conversion chemistry and all that stuff? You can find all the past episodes there.
Yep. You can subscribe. You can talk to Frank and I. You can talk to George. It's all there. It's all there. And hey, speaking of referrals, if you know an entrepreneur and you care about them, tell them about the Fire Your Boss show.
Referrals, the number one method of growing your business. The number two method is always, for years, has always been risk reversal. Next episode, we're talking about how to eliminate the risk in growing your business as a solopreneur or even a salesperson or growing your business. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. And audience, don't forget, go to conversionchemistry.com, online marketing academy, use Bruno 2024 as your promo code and receive 90% off. Signing off. I'll see you guys next week.